Then boom, I got fired. And then it was like, I was like, well, maybe if I shut it down altogether, then maybe I could get another job. And my middle son was like, Mom,
True.
do not turn it off right now. Do not shut it down right now. Like
Yo,
right now, you're probably going
your
to get the
son said
most
that.
followers.
Your
Like,
son, so your son said that.
well, yeah, because he's like, I have bills. I'm in college. Like, hello, I'm one of
Wow.
the worst reasons for you having to have this, and my
Wow.
sons, they don't want to talk about
Mhm.
OF really, but like they understand that, and even have said like a lot of girls their age are out there doing it, and they're like,
Mm.
you're like the only one in this very unique position where you're actually taking it seriously too, because I'm doing a 300 plus hour sex coaching training certification because I'm like, well, that's just a benefit. If you've been on only, if you've been an OF creator, then you
Mhm.
just know more about what people want, and you know more about embodied intimacy, and
Mhm.
have that like ability to integrate like your desire, your your boundaries, your identity, and like not feel like shamed or rejected or like scared of visibility. And
Yeah.
so when I was fired from teaching, it was kind of like, maybe I can become a sex coach, and then I can help other women, especially single moms,
Mhm.
connect with their desire and their, own sexual needs, because it's a lot of moms have mom guilt, about like dating
Yeah.
or
That's
doing
the thing.
anything. I mean, Chris Rock was talking about in his comedy tour, like single moms are the most grateful women for sex or something like that. Like you can get them to, put out or something. But it's like at
Mhm.
the same time, they're looking for somebody to be, they have an empty seat at the table. Like they're looking for that
Yeah.
provider, that father figure, and as a
It feeds on
woman,
itself. It feeds on itself because I
yeah.
think that it definitely limits the pool of men that are willing to fill that seat.
Right.
And then
Mhm.
you have to question even the men that are comfortable with doing it, what's their motivations behind it?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
even the men that are entering into dynamics and relationships with children that she has and the
Mhm.
safety of that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, so it's a
It's
whole host of
There's a lot.
random things that I think a lot of people and the wild thing that
Mhm.
you said that I didn't hear before was that your adult son actually encouraged you at a season and time when the finances weren't coming in and you needed to support yourself. He actually
Mhm.
encouraged you to continue. And it's like that's the piece that I think in the red pill manosphere space is often missing is that
Mhm.
sometimes people aren't aware of situations like yours where sometimes the
Right.
family is fully aware in support of and understands what the trade-offs that comes with it, both good and bad. And it's not
Yeah.
just as simple as always the mom or in this scenario just made a decision and she didn't think about
Mhm.
anybody else. There's a
Right.
lot of more factors kind of at play. And the one thing that kind of came to mind with listening to you is I keep going back to the trauma that you went through when you were young
Mhm. Yeah.
and envisioning what that must have felt like when you first start trying it and then you're getting all these demands from strangers about what to do with your body.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, oof, that had to be both you probably wrestling back and forth between the autonomy, the freedom, the
Mhm.
liberation, but also like
Yeah.
people trying to again dictate what can happen with your body and move this way
Mhm.
and arch this way and put this on. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what's the mental stress and anxiety of who are you in that moment when you're having to
Mhm.
decide between is this for me or is this for them?
Right. Or is it for my kids?
Hey,
There's
hey,
that
yeah,
third option, right? Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the greater good. Does the burden like does the blessing outweigh the burden, that kind of situation. But yeah, in
Mhm,
those moments, boundaries are essential. You have
mhm,
to know like where your red light, where your hard lines are. I
mhm,
don't do live. I've never done lives. A lot of people want to do webcam stuff or whatever. I can't deal with that interaction. That's the
yeah,
line for me.
yeah,
That's, that's like a relationship. I'm going to create everything with, I don't have a photographer. I do my own setup. I do my own wardrobe, my own hair, my own everything
mhm,
by myself. I
mhm,
decide. I look at the pictures, I look at the videos, I decide what toys to use. I make all those decisions because I think agency is very important in that space, especially. You have to have consent, you have to have boundaries. And yeah, you've got that negotiation in your head, like, is this, what am I doing this for? You got to come back to that
Yep.
and
Yep.
pacing yourself. And it's a lot of pressure
Hmm.
for just like say, looking good, because it's like, oh my God, well,
Hmm.
now that that ass is a little more jiggly, I guess, the black dudes will probably like that on the, like, then you're like, oh, I lost weight, yay, like my white fans will be back, whatever.
Oh.
Like, nah, but I've got
That
a
is
lot of
funny.
a lot of people like, oh, a lot of fetishizing, and that
Mm.
bothers me
Okay. Okay.
because
From who though?
from
Is
black
it
men, because like
really?
I'm just in it for BBC, like I worship BBC. It's like, dude, not everybody that's black even has a BBC for
Up.
sure. But
Up.
then also, like, that's just a whole racial myth, right? To
Hmm.
over sexual and to see black men as, because black men have never been at the center of the manosphere, let's be real, or the patriarchy, or that
No.
power structure
No.
of male privilege. Black men have never been centered in that. So
Mm-mm.
it's like this sense of like fetishizing stereotypes and racial interactions gets weird. And I'm not
Mm.
about that at the
Hmm.
same time, because I see black men as my brothers, my sons, my dad,
Hmm.
who was a healthy dad to me. Um, and like a whole person.
Wow.
Not just, I
Mm.
don't just want your dick and I want to have mixed kids or babies or whatever. Like a lot of women are like, I want your dick and I want a baby.
Yeah.
And then I'm done with you. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I
Hmm.
don't want to say Kardashians, but anyways, like moving on after we've got the kids, it's like seeing somebody as a human being, like a whole person. What is this person's feelings and
Hmm.
wants and needs and desires, and how can we be like a team? And a lot of people have asked me, like, if somebody came into your life, the right person, and you could step away from all that, would you step away from the
Yeah, I was
limelight?
gonna ask you that. Yeah.
Do you want the attention, that kind of thing? And I'm like, oh, in a heartbeat, yeah.
That you
This
would
is
give it
not
up.
a this is not a first choice career, but it
Okay.
is. I can weave my artistry into it.
Hmm.
I can do what I'm doing with confidence, right? But I
Hmm.
also would rather not, like I don't want to do this forever. That's
Yeah,
just
yeah, 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 yeah.
I want to meet my person. I want to have a family unit. I'm a sub. Like I just prefer to be submissive. I like a more dominant partner. So I
Mm.
like that traditional dynamic. I want to be able to cook and clean and
Hmm.
be there for my partner. So ultimately that's the goal. But
So hold on.
meanwhile, while we get there, or whatever,
Need
maybe it'll
need
never
need me say
happen.
that?
Maybe I'll be 80 years old and still have an OF, right? And I'll just be like, well,
Man, I must say,
somebody's got a kink for the 80-year-old women out
yeah,
there,
listen, I'm gonna say this. It sounds like based on your description that your number one demographic is black men. Is that accurate?
right? Well, to some extent, but then also let me just say, there was the first offer of six figures that I got after
Hmm.
2015 was from um Vivint or whatever, like a porn industry. Like they
Okay.
wanted to do, like, if you could do four positions, we'll pay you six figures, and then we want to upload it on wefuckblackgirls.com or whatever. And so it's kind of
Mm.
like, can you race play for white men? Can they do, will you let white guys, treat you, like their fantasies of how they want to like treat a black woman?
Really?
That's weird. So like it's both. And even
Oh.
before 2015, I could tell when I'm like, I dated white guys, I dated women too. So there's
Hmm.
that. So it's like I could tell when a partner or person in the grocery store, whatever, racializes me in a certain way. Because whether
Mm.
it's a white guy who's exoticizing you, like, oh,
Hmm.
she's exotic, she's like a little bit, not white and cool
Hmm.
and sexy and whatever, Jezebel or whatever. And or versus the black dude being like, ooh, those green eyes and those freckles and that light skin.
Hmm.
So it's
Hmm.
kind of like either way, it's dehumanizing in a sense. Like
Mm.
those fetishes are not it's like they don't, those people that are just looking at that don't see who I am. And I think my strong suit is hardcore, like like the inner part of who I am.
Hmm.
That's
So,
my, that's like what I want somebody to fall in love with, not
mhm.
just some kind of fetish that,
So
they
that would
have like a,
mean no one who's a current subscriber of your OnlyFans channel is probably going to be a good option because they would have been going for a while, kind of seeing you just in that light, just strictly through basically as a sexual object of gratification. I'm
mhm,
like in my head, it would almost make sense for a guy that's not really into that stuff or doesn't look at it at all.
right.
Then you would at least have the potential of him having a more nuanced, fuller view of you versus somebody that's
Right.
used to paying $3.99. Well, I don't know what your rates are currently.
Nine
But
ninety nine a month is just to be
oh,
on there.
oh, pay-per-view prices.
Yeah, that is
That's
that
up
part.
there.
It's the
'Cause
like,
I heard it was $3.99. I didn't know it was
oh no, it's
cheers.
9.99 for me. Because
Oh, okay.
there's some stuff, like you can see some things just on my feed, on my main feed, so
Hmm.
you're not getting that for free. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean 9.99. What is that? It's not even a meal at McDonald's nowadays. So, but
Mm-hmm.
I just think that, yeah, maybe the person is like that, like you're saying, but
Mm-hmm.
also maybe they understand, like you said, 2.99 to subscribe to your YouTube. And if people really want you to continue, they gotta hit that. So if people really want to support me,
Mm-hmm.
they're reading my book. They might have subscribed to OF. Maybe they don't like, they're not on there every day or whatever, but I even have like, gay guys that subscribe to my OF just to support, or whatever. Like, so there's that. Like some people just like, oh, I'm a fan. I'm gonna buy her art, buy her book, subscribe to her OF, just to help her, like just to be there, as a
Mm-hmm.
support. Because
Wow.
like you said, like if you show up, like if you don't support somebody economically, how can you say, like
That
a
you
guy
support
is like, oh, I
anyway.
just want to get to know you for you. I want you to tell me. I'm like, dude, you didn't even read my book. You have like, you don't
Mm.
even know how many kids I have. Like what? Like I don't have time to share with every single person who wants to shoot their shot. Like start from square one. Like
Yeah.
do a
And
little homework.
do you want that? Because I know you've been in different relationships, you've been divorced before. Like, do you
Mhm.
even do what does Nkechi Jalo today, what is it that you want? Like, is it something that you just want long-term partnership? Is it open? Is it like legal marriage? Like what would you say that you want now?
Definitely committed long term partnership.
Okay.
And whether marriage or not, that's like the commitment in the long term part, or what I'm looking like. I'm looking for my person, like to
Mm,
grow old with, to, mutually take care of each other,
mm,
and somebody who, quite honestly, like somebody who likes that traditionalness, that like I cook and like I want to be the girl, like I'm always
mm,
the girl, even if I'm dating a girl. Like I want to be with somebody who's like a leader.
mm,
And it's really hard, to be honest. It's hard to find somebody who is stronger than me. And I'm not saying that because I have a big ego, but just like
mm,
I hold a lot of shit together. And to find somebody who is even just on that page, let alone like doing more at a more intense level,
mm,
it's tough. There are a lot of people out there that just, yeah, they want to create content with me because they want to blow up or they want to do this or that, but it's not like they would be a equal partner, let alone like somebody I could look up to and
mm,
follow,
mm.
as a wife or as a submissive partner. So it's hard to find, man. It's hard to find.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. It'd have been
uh,
hard. It'd have been hard if you weren't on OF and had the trending stuff in the past because all the
yeah.
ladies, listen, the ladies are showing up to the singles events now and saying 2 men showed up and 100 women showing up. So,
Oh, well,
oh
that's not
yes,
my experience.
especially in so well, what
On
happened?
dating apps, I feel like it's a hundred men to like one me. Like I'm just like I can't even keep up with the matches. I'm just like I just
Mhm.
give up.
Yeah, and I've always said
Just
this to ladies
yeah,
when it comes to this, which is why they still end up single despite these
yeah.
DMs and these matches and everything. Is like once you whittle down actually figuring out which ones you actually want to talk to, the
Hmm.
ones that's actually interesting, the ones that you're actually attracted to, and then the ones that actually come are presenting what it is that you're looking for. That 100 now is 10. And
Yeah.
then when you get down to how tall is he, how much money does he make,
Right.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
one of those things where it's
See,
like,
see the money and the height, you can miss me with that. But like the, like I mean, I care about effort. I care about
mm,
consistency,
mhm,
being a priority. I care about emotional safety. There's certain things that are like my core needs. But yeah, you could be 5'8", you could be 6'8". Like
mhm.
I dated both. Like I'm not on that height. I'm 5'4", so I'm kind of like, I guess I have like a privilege of not being taller than most guys. Like, I'm
That's
pretty much
good.
always shorter than everybody. So
That's
there's
good.
that.
Nah, I would say like,
But
because I'm a guy, so I already know how most
mm,
the very same guys that'll subscribe, there's a certain percentage of them that would never outwardly do certain things, right? So in my
right.
head, I'm like, okay, but I think that the saving grace is what you said earlier about if a guy is interested in fulfilling that role and his request was that that gets shut down and you move away from that. But finances are in order, everything's covered, and you're able to actually live out what it is that you're hoping for at this stage. And you've been married before, you've been in relationships before,
Mhm.
so it's like you kind of know more than ever now what you want so
Right.
that if that guy does come and that's his offer, I
Mhm.
wouldn't see that being a fight at all for you. I would be like,
No.
we would be like, it's over, it's
It's
done.
not a fight at all. And I
Mm,
just think that the feminist stuff like went a little too far, because, and I'm not like a red pill 100% whatever manosphere rah person, but
mhm.
like it's exhausting to do everything. But yeah, I would put down the provider hat. Like, you know what I mean? Like if somebody's stepping in as the provider,
Let's not
that's what
listen,
OF
guys.
is. OF is the income, baby. So like if
Yeah.
somebody steps in and is going to be a teammate, I can still do my art. I can have a
Mhm,
studio for like actual fine art paintings, not
mhm.
art and lingerie and stuff. So yeah, I'm ready,
I'm a
but we'll
listen
see.
because for everybody in the future, when it comes to the comments, gentlemen, y'all will have to figure out how to get access to her. Do not email me. Do not DM me. I'm not cooking y'all up. This is for y'all to decide if this is what you got to shoot your shot the old fashioned way. All she said
Yeah.
was Arizona. That's all y'all got.
Well,
That's
and
all y'all
that's
got.
where you go like 100 to 10 to then like who's in Tucson,
Yep. Yep.
because that long distance, oh boy, that's hard to build a bond across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Final questions.
Yep.
One word for Nikeshi today that defines where you are in life and how
Mm.
you feel about life.
On a personal level, I would say I'm a nurturer. And
Mm.
nurturer would be like who I am. On a public level, I would say unbroken.
Unbroken. Wow.
Yeah, because I'm still me.
Mm.
I will always be me. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see if like someday, if people don't necessarily have empathy or like who I am or whatever. I think like once the person dies, then everybody's like, oh, she was so misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
maybe someday that day will come and that'll be great. But meanwhile,
Mm.
um, I'm
I'm
not
going
gonna
to
be
tell you
broken.
that word, unbroken, based on your history, just what you shared today, that that's a perfect word. That
Mhm.
is a perfect word to describe the journey from childhood to today of what I think you are, truly. And I think you actually do embody that. And kudos. And again, I have gained a whole new respect for you in ways that I don't know that whenever somebody mentions OnlyFans or certain things, I don't normally think, oh, I'm going to respect them more. This is one of those nuances where it's like, I've heard so much detail, nuance, and newer information that I haven't heard on a lot of the other interviews I've looked into, to
Mhm.
where, regardless of your choices and decisions and how we got to this point,
Right.
I can respect who you are as a person and human being because
Mhm.
through and through, you've actually been you and in a
Right.
space and place where I can't stand the people that do the OnlyFans for 2, 3, 5 years. They level up and now they're ishing on they're shitting on all the people who still on it. And I'm like, so it was a means to an end for you, and then now you get to pretend and act like it wasn't what it was from your van. Like, come on now. Like, we know why women are using it. We know why men are paying for it. If you're gonna go to the strip club, we know what the game is. My view is all I keep saying it, man. My view has always been if people are authentic, they're honest, they're objective, and they understand what potential trade-offs are. and they live and they own it. If you want to be
Yeah.
100% sexual liberation with the feminist route, own what comes with that.
Mhm.
Listen, a lot of y'all gonna be raising boys that look like me, and the guy not gonna be there. A lot of y'all, it's gonna be a different guy every year. Like this it's come with the territory. Like it's part of the game, and it's like, again, if you want to live the traditional life and give the next 20
Mhm.
years of your life to your family and not be in the workplace, that's a
Right.
trade-off, because now you don't get to develop your career to the degree you may have liked. You do
Right.
have to do a lot. You may have to give up your dreams for the sake of your kids. Like, each of
Yeah.
these decisions and choices is a trade-off. And throughout the entire time that we've had this interview and I've asked you these different questions, you didn't run from accountability. You acknowledged the different ways of how you approached it in contrast to how the world saw it. And
Mhm.
you adjusted to whatever season you were in. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna invite you back on, because this is what I'm saying is, when my audience sees this and they see this other side to you, they're gonna want you back. And besides the master growing gardener stuff, have you ever done panels where if it's like we reacting to stuff in the news? Have you ever done
Oh yeah.
panel
Oh
reaction?
yeah.
Okay,
I
because
love being on a panel because then I'm not like the subject matter.
okay, and
Like I
funny enough,
just,
like we
yeah.
next week, myself and somebody else, we may be reacting to the situation involving the rodeo, where all the black folks were down in Houston, and how they're now having a dress code and banning people because, well, a lot of people in my community, it seemed like when we getting into some of these places, we start getting a little too rowdy, and then before you know it, and it's like we're gonna be talking about that and some of this
Mhm.
other stuff, and I'm like, I would love to hear your opinion on some of these things. I'm gonna let you know the info when I put it together in case you're able to
All
jump
right.
on.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep me in your back pocket for, any kind of stuff like that, and I will jump in when I can.
Lastly, the
Mhm.
name, decision to change the name, and where does it come from, and what does it mean?
Yeah. So, the decision was inspired by one of my mentors, Atala Shabazz, Malcolm X's oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She was kind of like, you might need to change your name because your job applications, they see Rachel Dolezal and they don't even read
Right.
the resume.
Yep.
And you have a great resume. And she actually had me on some panels, but she kept it quiet, like no media.
Mm-hmm.
This is what everybody's not going to ask her. She's a academic and she's going to speak to the situation like everybody else on the stage. So I listened to that and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it's probably wisdom because if I had a different name, maybe they'd then see the resume and then, I'd get at least an interview
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe they would think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'd get in the top three or something. Like maybe I'd get close. But at that time, but then it was like weird to name myself. Like I was just like, I don't know, like what name do you pick? Somebody's like, you
Mm-hmm.
need to pick a new name.
Yeah.
So that same year, I got an email from Nigeria, and basically it was from an Igbo community, and just saying like, we see you. It was unsolicited. I don't know, like people got my email address from my art website. I think at that time, like different places you can find, my information, but it was like, we see you for who you are, a high frequency Nubian spirit incarnated in this lifetime into a white envelope in order to traumatize white supremacy spiritually.
Oh my God.
And then like they're like, and we
Okay.
give you this name because
Mm,
Nkechi for short means a gift from God. And you're a gift to the world because
mm,
you are going to, help people undo all this oppression or whatever. Like, I mean, it was very sweet and like maybe optimistic as far as the gesture, but I feel
mhm,
like the
mhm,
intention, I'll never forget it. Like I can repeat that every day because like it stuck with me, like the exact wording of
mhm.
that email. And I was like, okay, well, this is my new name then.
Wow. Wow.
Because
Wow.
if you think of Rachel, it means lamb.
Mhm,
Dolajal means to lie down. So then I'm basically like a sacrificial lamb. And I was kind of like,
mhm,
I'm done with that chapter. Let's move on to gift from God. And then Jalo means bold. And Amari, my middle name, means beautiful. So it's like, I'm going to be a bold, beautiful gift from God. Like I'm stepping into myself, like
mhm,
just a new name, a new chapter. But at the same
mhm,
time, like my OF is Rachel Dolezal. Like my public name is still that everybody knows me as that. So it's not like I'm trying to run away from that or be a
Mhm.
different, you know,
It's really for business
person or
purposes.
whatever. But it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
bio parents gave me that name. And if you think about it, it was like set me up for some martyrdom, you know, like just some crazy, not fun life type of situation. So
Mm,
I don't know. I was happy to let that name go, but it's something that'll just always be there. I'll have the dual name
yeah,
situation. But
yeah.
like anybody at like my legal name, so it's yeah, 10 years now that I've been
Wow,
in Keiichi. And
wow, yeah, it is 2026. Wow,
yeah,
that's
my
true.
sister changed her name too. And so we both are Jalo, you know, last names. And
Wow.
so we have the same last name now. We kind of yeah, just did that together. But
Mhm. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to ask you. Well, I want to thank you first,
Of
just for
course.
coming on and doing this with me. It actually is an honor because, like I said, you get this influx of texts and emails and people constantly trying to get to you, and you just being agreeing to even do this. Like, I genuinely am honored that you were willing to share your story and find space to be able to be vulnerable about a lot of the things you opened up with. And then I always try to ask people when I can, how did you feel the interview went, and what's your overall grades in terms of my interview and how this went with you.
Oh, I give you 10 out of 10 for sure. I mean, like you said, like you're gonna see how how people comment because this one isn't live, but
Mm.
either you're I mean, you're saying like they're gonna see me in a new light,
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
possible, or they're just gonna hate on you. And that's
I'm
what I
used to it.
don't
I'm used to
want because
it.
honestly, like, and
Yeah.
that's part of the difficulty of doing anything public because sometimes
Mhm.
people go down with me or else, you know, like we're gonna stay up together or people are gonna
Mhm.
separate the two. But it's yeah, it's interesting to just see it's either love or hate. So
I really appreciate those kind words. My view has been that if I can walk away with it to where I can ask the questions I wanted to ask, I heard and learned things I didn't know before, and I can still have a working relationship with someone after the fact, then I
right.
felt like I checked all the boxes. I usually think people will focus on the second one. Did I ask the questions everybody wants to hear or ask it in the way that people want? And they
Right.
lose sight of the fact that we're trying to build something. We're trying to network. We're trying to collaborate. And if I keep burning bridges every time somebody comes on my platform, nobody gonna want to come on and
Mhm.
again. And then the people who see how I'm approaching interviews,
Mhm.
they're gonna be scared off from even wanting to come on at all. So I
Right.
think that there's definitely a way to do it. And I mean, of course, it's not perfect, but
Mhm.
I felt like you opened up about a lot of things and shared even things. Yeah, you shared things here that I actually hadn't heard in other spots before. So
Right.
I really appreciate those kind words. I'm definitely gonna replay this once I download it and get it ready. But
Well,
listen, where can
yeah,
yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
hoping that people there's like drama fatigue, you know, like those dramatic, over the top, entertaining, fighting podcasts are like a dime a dozen. And I think
Literally.
people need to, whether they know they want to or not, but like they
Mm,
need to find, you know, listen to balance and like
yeah,
calm your nervous system down and hear
yeah,
somebody out.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
appreciate you for that. So thank you.
Listen, because I was getting attacked when I'm talking about messy panels and people always arguing. I'm like, it's cool and all, but I feel like there is a market for what we're doing too. And
Yeah.
it's like I want to build this platform to where I can have an in-person setup where I can fly guests in and we can have more of an in-person over coffee or tea or something,
Right.
and it really be like a chill, laid back thing. And I lost sight at the time, so I know you're gonna yell at me afterwards. I was like, this is awesome. So where can people find and support you on all your various channels and platforms?
Yeah, so my main social media platform that I curate as friendly is Instagram. So it's at Rachel A. Dolezal, and you'll see Nkechi Jalo that comes up as the name for that, but that's the at Rachel A. Dolezal. And then my art is on nkechijalo.art. So my Gmail is just my first and last name at Gmail because there's
Mhm,
nobody else that's Nkechi Jalo, I guess, on Gmail. There's
mhm,
no underscores or spaces or dots or whatever. And then I've got a couple YouTube channels, and I think we'll link to those.
mhm,
And yeah, my OF is under Rachel too, but my link tree is on my Instagram and it has everything: how to get my book, the
mhm.
Netflix doc, all of the links.
So the Instagram is Nkechi Ajalo on Instagram.
That's what it's gonna say as my name, but the
Yeah.
at is Rachel A. Dolezal.
Got you. Got you. Got you.
Mm.
Got you. Well,
Yeah.
listen, I thank you so much. And everybody that wants to support her in the various ways that you can. And it's dope that, you know, people that I can't do OnlyFans, they're like, well, she got art. She has a book.
Yeah.
She might do speaking engagements and you have your history and background with teaching. You know, if you guys, you know, if you like this content, if you enjoyed the guest, if you enjoyed the interview, please, please, please make sure you subscribe, that you support her in whatever ways that you feel comfortable and are open to. This is one of those situations where I'm gonna be honest. I heard your story. I've now seen it all, and I got to tell you, I'm rooting for you, and I definitely would love for you to welcome you back and want to work with you in the future and see how we can build up the revenue, the financial revenue.
Yeah.
You know, and you're definitely welcome in this space, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
All right, so I'm gonna close out things, and I will talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, guys. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this interview. I'm very interested to see what the feedback's going to be. I'm probably going to be releasing this in the next 7 days or so, depending on looking at the schedule when I think it will make sense. But I got to say, man, I have a newfound respect for her. I saw her as just a person out there, and now I like understand her world, and I understand her decisions, and I understand her ideology, her philosophy, her psychology, and the development of it. And I see the humanness of her. And I hope that this interview, instead of it being more of the shock jock, you know, let's go viral or try to make somebody look bad thing, I think my goal was to hope that, you know, it humanized her. And, you know, you guys will let me know once you watch this if you felt that I did or what I can do better. But thanks everybody for watching and tuning in for this. Let's share it. Let's see if we can clear 5,000, 10,000, 20, 30. Who knows? Let's push it and really get it out there. And for everybody that loves to watch and really support, of course, like, share, subscribe, hype up the video. But feel free, guys, to also clip up this stuff. I say all the time, if y'all clip it up, if y'all clip up certain sections, put it on 9x16 and just toss it on Instagram and Facebook, tag me. Just tag the page, tag her as well. But my team, we're going to be editing this pretty soon and trying to get these clips out early to let people know that this interview is out. But thanks to Nkechi again and her family for allowing us to be able to do something like this. And I hope that this just plants seeds for her return in a massive way to the public sector, and that we get used to seeing and hear more and more from her. So, guys, if you're not a subscriber, please make sure you become one. If you're not a member, what are you waiting on? It's $2.99. That's the number one way. And we always ask that, you know, that's the one way that we always ask that people to support the brand and channel. And if you enjoyed this, feel free to hit the $ super chat button, or you can donate to the PayPal or Cash App that's listed on the links. And of course, on Mondays, remember our movie book club, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're currently working through Lovecraft Country. And then on Tuesdays, we have our men's self-improvement group. And that's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Men's tables, our virtual men's table is on Wednesdays at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And thank y'all. Like I said, I'm now doing this a lot more often, and it's fun. It's exhausting, but it's very, very rewarding. And I appreciate every single person. So guys, if every person that watches this shares it, likes it, feel free to donate how they see fit. I'm going to get to continue doing this more and more often. So guys, thank you to the guests. Thank you to all of you that's going to be watching this once you see it. And I hope that you guys were pleased with this interview. So thank you. And you know, see y'all soon. So thank you. And this is probably gonna be pretty fun. All right, y'all. See y'all soon. Peace.